Hello everyone, it's my huge pleasure to welcome you here in the residence of Swedish Ambassador in Warsaw, as I am hosted here by His Excellency Andreas von Beckerath, the Ambassador of Sweden to Poland. We are here for one particular reason. Sweden has become the partner country of this year's Warsaw Security Forum, and moreover we have just arrived back from Stockholm, where we had a lot of meetings with the Swedish ministers, but also the National Security Advisor and people representing the Swedish Parliament. Those were, of course, in the internal setting, so not much of what I can actually tell you. But the truth is that we are here also to give you a sneak peek into what Sweden thinks is the most important part for the partnership in with Poland this year. Mr. Ambassador, I'm delighted to be here. And let me start actually with the question. Sweden has become a new NATO ally, which is like music to our ears. We're delighted to experience that fact. But we're also part of the European Union together. Poland's role in European Union has risen recently. Weimar Triangle is all over the news headlines in Europe. So how does actually Sweden perceive Polish role in both the European Union and NATO?
Well, first of all, warm welcome to the Swedish residents. We're really delighted to have you here, and of course honored and delighted to be a partner country at this year's Warsaw Security Forum. And also very privileged and happy that you were able to visit Stockholm earlier this week. I understood from colleagues that the discussions were very, very fruitful and valuable. Now to your question. I think obviously Poland is a very important member of the European Union, a very important partner for Sweden in the European Union, and also of course a very, very important member of the NATO alliance. When it comes to the European Union, I agree with you that Poland's role has grown stronger with this government. It is more active in the decision making. It's more active in engaging with other EU member states. Its influence, I would say, when it comes to the decision making has grown. And this is something that we from Swedish side very warmly welcome, basically for two reasons. Firstly, it's important for Sweden to have a strong Europe, to have a strong European Union. And we can't have a strong European Union without active engagement by Poland and a strong Poland. Secondly, Poland and Sweden are very much like-minded on a number of important issues. So this is also a reason for us to welcome the strong engagement by Poland in EU affairs. Most importantly, we're like-minded on the most important foreign policy priority, to make sure to support Ukraine for as long as it takes, and also to cope with the threat posed by Russia. But we're also like-minded on other issues such as enlargement, the need for the European Union and its member states to assume a great responsibility for European security, but also on issues outside the CFSP agenda, such as competitiveness and the need to strengthen the single market. We very much look forward to Poland assuming the role as EU presidency the first 6 months of next year.
And expectations?
Well, we had the same role exactly a year ago. Mm-hmm. So for us, this memory is quite fresh, and I'm happy that we as an embassy managed to organize seminars and meetings between Swedish politicians and civil servants and their Polish counterparts to share some of the experience that we received from our presidency. Not that I think that the brilliant Polish civil servants and very experienced politicians will need much help, but still it's in our interest to make sure that the Poland's EU presidency is a super success. When it comes to Poland's role within NATO, well, obviously Poland plays a very important role as a security provider. And I think both Sweden and other allies are impressed by the way Poland is leading by example when it comes to investments into your defense and security sector. We very much look forward, as a new proud NATO member, to learn from your 75 years of experience. And perhaps most importantly, we're incredibly grateful for the strong support that we received from Poland during our application process. Poland was one of the first countries to ratify our membership application, and you did so unanimously. And perhaps most importantly, you provided us with very important security assurances during the sensitive period between application and membership. And we very much look forward to working closely with Poland within NATO.
Mr. Ambassador, of course, the security of the Baltic Sea area is one of the huge topics for the upcoming Warsaw Security Forum, and he has also been a part of our discussions when we were in Stockholm on many levels. The question I have is what actually the security of the Baltic Sea stands for, this slogan? What does it stand for when it comes to Sweden? And to what degree we should actually be right now talking not necessarily only about the eastern flag of NATO, but also the northeastern flank of NATO. Like, what could be the role of Poland in assuring security in this region?
Yeah, that's a very important and interesting question. I mean, first of all, to say the most obvious thing, and that is a strong and secure Baltic Sea region, firmly anchored both within NATO and the European Union, is really a core national security policy priority for Sweden. I mean, it's clear that with Sweden and Finland's NATO membership, the military map of Northern Europe has changed dramatically. Today, as you know, all of the Baltic Sea states, apart from one obvious exception, Russia, are members of NATO. So this will entail a more coherent area of operations. We will be able, Sweden as a new NATO member, to offer our territory, strategic locations for defense of other allies. And I think perhaps equally important, with Sweden and Finland in NATO, the North Atlantic, the Arctic and the Baltic Sea is part of the same strategic map. One can say that we have one strategic theater in a way that we didn't have before. We see the Baltic Sea very much not as a divide, but something that unites us NATO members around the Baltic Sea, not least since we all share the same challenge, the same threat posed by Russia. But given the fact that the strategic map now has changed, we believe it's important now to intensify and deepen the strategic dialogue and the cooperation among the Baltic Sea states. We are looking to do that also in connection with the Council of Baltic Sea States, the ministerial meeting that will take place in Finland later this spring. Finland and Sweden has taken the initiative to also initiate the strategic dialogue with all of the CBSS countries, the Nordic Baltic countries, Poland and Germany. And Sweden is this year sharing the Nordic 5 format and the Nordic Baltic format. And we're very much looking into how we can strengthen the cooperation with all of the Baltic Sea states, so including Poland and Germany. So this will definitely be an important priority during our chairmanship of the Nordic 5 and the Nordic Baltic format.
Thank you. Well, of course, we are referring to Baltic Sea right now as a part of the, well, some even nickname it like a NATO lake, although there is a lot of actually arguments why we should still care about security of the of the sea itself.
I'm personally not a big fan of the sort of the label NATO lake, because it gives you almost a false assurance and false safety. We still have to deal with the threat posed by Russia, which is a Baltic Sea state.
And that actually also refers to the civilian infrastructure.
Yes, which will be, exactly, and I agree with you there. I think basically when it comes to the substance for cooperation for the Baltic Sea area, I think we're looking at it at 4 different dimensions. Firstly, sort of the sea bottom, including protecting vital infrastructure. Then you have below the sea level, you have above the sea level, and you have in the sky. And as a new proud NATO member, we're of course proud that we can offer state-of-the-art defense capability in all 4 dimensions when it comes to the Baltic Sea.
So is there any tangible project in which actually Poland and Sweden could cooperate when it comes to the security of the Baltic Sea? Something that you would feel that could unite both governments? Well,
as Sweden's ambassador to Poland, I'm always preaching the incredible potential that we have when it comes to closer cooperation between Poland and Sweden. My pitch is sort of to say that we share a common history, but we also share a common future, not least since we have to cope with the same security situation and the threat from Russia. I think there are basically 4 different reasons why we today have a better potential than ever to work closely between Sweden and Poland. I mean, firstly, the obvious reason, we are now members of NATO, and that sort of adds a new dimension to our already fruitful cooperation in security and defense. But secondly, we're like-minded on so many issues. I mean, it's quite obvious when I've had visiting politicians, including my Prime Minister, our Minister of Defense, and several other ministers, but also civil servants coming here, that there are so many areas where we're like-minded. So that also provides a very sort of good opportunity to work together. Thirdly, I would say the area of defense industry. Sweden has a very advanced defense industry base. Poland has also an advanced defense industry.
But also needs.
And also needs. And I think you could say that throughout the past few years, this cooperation has also been strengthened. And I think there is a potential to strengthen that furthermore in the near future. And the 4th reason is we have very good experience when it comes to working together, not least when it comes to the Eastern Partnership, an initiative that Sweden and Poland advanced together from 2009 and onwards. And I think that Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia will not be where they are today in terms of their EU accession if it hadn't been for the Eastern Partnership Initiative.
Absolutely, although we have some unfinished business with Belarus.
Yes.
In that regards, but I suppose that actually the Eastern Partnership is a perfect example that the cooperation between the 2 governments can actually have the impact not only on the area of the Baltic Sea, but also broader than that. Mr. Ambassador, an obvious question, but I suppose that we should actually touch upon this subject. What Sweden wants to achieve with the status of partner country at the Warsaw Security Forum this year?
Well, first of all, to say the most obvious thing, we're incredibly proud and honored to have been selected as a partner nation. And I think, first of all, the Warsaw Security Forum is really the most prominent conference of its kind in Northern and Central Europe. So for that reason, we're very happy that we have this opportunity. But I think equally important for us is that this is a perfect platform to increase our cooperation with Poland within the defense and security area. We always had a very prominent participation from Sweden, as you know, at the Warsaw Security Forum. It has always been one of the favorite events among Swedish decision makers. For this year's Security Forum, we're very happy that we will have our Minister for Defense, our Minister for Civil Defense, our National Security Advisor. They have already confirmed their participation, but I'm quite sure that they will be joined by several other high-level decision makers from the government, from our armed forces, and from our think tank community. And of course, as a proud new member of the NATO alliance, this will be a very important opportunity for us also to present what Sweden can contribute to the alliance with. To join NATO was, of course, very important historic decision by Sweden. We left 200 years of neutrality and military non-alignment behind. And we're now entering a new identity when it comes to security and defense policy. And I think that the Warsaw Security Forum will really be the excellent platform for us to present this new identity and also to present the capabilities in the air, on the sea, below the sea, our defense industry, our knowledge when it comes to Russia. In all of these areas, the space, not least, Arctic region, in all of these areas, I think the Warsaw Security Forum is really the perfect sort of platform for us to present what we can offer, both in terms of knowledge, but also in terms of capabilities. So that is sort of the main reason why we very much look forward to the Warsaw Security Forum.
I'm delighted to hear it, actually, the music to my ears. And also super happy that I don't have to sell the Warsaw Security Forum to you, because the ambassador mentioned all the profits of being there at the very beginning of October 1st and 2nd. And I wholeheartedly invite you to join us there. The ambassador will be there, the ministers will be there from Sweden, but not only from Sweden, and we are really looking forward to that. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for the discussion.
Thank you for coming.